1 in every 7 Americans lives below the poverty line. That's a record 46.2 million people. 1 in 6 Americans have no health insurance. That's 50 million people. Of every 17 Americans, at least one will be earning below the minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. 14.5% of American households are defined as food insecure. That means for every 7 households, one will have trouble putting enough food on the table. The richest 1% of the U.S. population, they own a third of U.S. net worth.
It's an election year, and personally, I have no idea what's going on. The reason why I don't know what's going on is because I don't necessarily care about the presidential election. In my opinion, all I see is just two at the end, just running, and you're trying to figure out who's the little compared to the big one. You choose a little, you don't choose a big one. And that's all basically the election is about.
Are you interested in politics?
No.
Are you interested in politics?
No.
So, are you interested in politics?
No, I don't like politics.
Are you interested in politics?
Not really, no.
Are you interested in politics?
No, not at all.
Are you interested in politics?
No, I'm not.
Are you interested in politics?
No. Are you interested in politics?
Not really.
Are you interested in politics?
No.
Why don't you think youth voters are involved in politics?
Politics are a bunch of greedy and corrupt bastards.
The American political system is broken right now due to there being only 2 main political parties, and the 2 main political parties are actually much too similar in the United States. There's no real voter choice.
How would you respond to students who say they don't care about politics because all politicians are the same?
Oh, that's very wrong. No, that's just factually not wrong. As I tried to indicate, it's a huge philosophic divide. And one of the things that upsets me is if I go, not so much in Vermont, but if I go someplace in the country, around the country, people say, well, all of you people. Well, it's not all of us. There are huge philosophical and political divides. So when you hear all of the contentiousness and the partisanship goes on there, you can't then say all politicians are the same. There are very strong philosophical and political divisions in the country, and people have got to sit down and figure out which side they're on.
Yeah.
I think what I'll remember most about this class is all the class discussions that we had and how different everyone's opinions were, which was pretty cool because, I mean, we had Timmy who had really interesting opinions, but he always backs them up, and then Sasha, who also had really radical opinions, but he also backed them up. And I think the structure of the class was really great, even though we'd watch a movie and then pause and then talk for 10 minutes. I think that's a really good way to do it. My views on politics have changed throughout this course because going into this class, I didn't really know the difference between different parties. So I probably would have just said, oh, I'm a liberal, or oh, I'm a Democrat. I didn't really know what I was. And now I think that I like different aspects of each different idea. And I can't really decide which one I am in particular because each of them have their flaws. So I still don't know like which category I'd put myself in, but I think I'm kind of just I have my own political view, which takes aspects of each and combines it into one that I have for myself. I definitely think that this class has made me more interested and more engaged in politics because I always used to say that I hated politics because I think it was just because I didn't know about them. And now that I still have like a hard time grasping politics. I can't sit down and just watch the news and understand it, but now at least I'm getting there, and now that I know about it, I love to talk about what I know, and I love to be aware of our country so that maybe I can try and help fix it one day. So yeah, I think I'm definitely more interested. The last few comments I have about this class were I thought it was really interesting and I really liked the structure of the class. I liked having just conversations and being able to debate and just share our opinions. I definitely hope it continues for a while, and I really hope it doesn't get cut. That would be a bummer. And I have definitely learned a lot about politics, which I didn't even think I was interested in.
Let's see. So, as a politician, how would you respond to students who say they don't care about politics because the political system is so corrupt their vote won't matter?
Well, I think in some degree they're cutting their nose off to spite their face. Is the system corrupt? It is. And it's corrupt, but you have to think about why it's corrupt. It's corrupt because of, in my view, the power of big money. And big money is making the situation worse every day. And Citizens United decision makes it that much worse. As I mentioned earlier, you have people in Washington now, lobbyists, members of Congress, who essentially see their role in life as to protect the interest of big money. And if you want to change that, the only way you change that is for ordinary people to become involved in the political process. So if you say, I'm not going to become involved, you're kind of abdicating the playing field to those folks.
What do you think schools can do to help students become more engaged politically?
I think that schools have got to impress upon kids that democracy is a fairly radical idea. That in fact, people do have enormous power when they choose to exercise that power. The issue of women's rights. There was a time 80 years ago women didn't have the right to vote. Yeah. Women getting the right to vote. The radical changes we have seen in women's position in American society didn't happen by accident. It happened by millions of women struggling for those rights. You got an African American president of the United States. When I was a kid, people in Alabama and Mississippi black people couldn't walk into a restaurant. That didn't happen overnight. It happened because people struggled to make those changes. Talking about gay rights, my God, huge transformation of the culture of society because of the activities of gay people and others. So democracy means that people work hard on issues they believe strongly about, understand that change doesn't come overnight, doesn't. But not to participate in the process is to mean that you're not going to fight for change and you're going to leave the status quo alone, which I think is a bad idea.
Sleepwalking through the all-night drugstore, baptized in fluorescent light. I found religion in the greeting card aisle, and now I know Hallmark was right. And every pop song on the radio is suddenly speaking to me. Yeah, art may imitate life, but life imitates TV.
What could help you become more interested?
Knowledge of politics. The power is there, and if the youth don't become involved, then that power void or that power vacuum is going to get filled by someone else. So someone is influencing decision makers, even if they're not. It's tough for schools because one of the things that we run the risk of is politicizing the process. I mean, I've always felt that, I always look at it as a compliment if a student isn't real sure whether I'm a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. That means that I haven't been coaching them one way or another.
I'll listen to their views. If I don't like them, they're losers. Not them as a person, but their ideas. Like Rick Santorum.
What's wrong with Rick Santorum?
His ideas are crap. Absolute crap.
What's your least favorite one? You know, which one really gets you mad?
I don't really know his ideas.
So is it more that you just don't have the knowledge of him that makes you not like him? You've heard.
I've heard.
But you have nothing from...
Alright, maybe he's not a loser because I don't know his ideas.
Well, what makes you not interested in politics?
I think it's boring and dramatic.
What makes it so dramatic, but yet so boring?
It's just a bunch of guys being like teenage girls. Fake, starting rumors. Dramatic.
And then the boring part?
It's about boring stuff. I mean, the reason why I don't really like politics is because there's things about Democrat and Republicans that I agree and disagree with. I mean, schools, they really don't talk much about politics at all. So I do think that they should definitely bring more politics into the schools so that kids really know about it. Because, I mean, we're teenage kids. Like, not many teenagers are going to go out trying to learn about politics. But if they bring it into the school system, then they'll really probably get a better idea of what it's really about.
Politicians always seem to be competing against each other and lying, and it seems like they never really get anything done, so I have no interest.
So then you're a Republican?
Yeah.
Alright, so who's your favorite Republican candidate right now?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No, I haven't decided yet.
Well, what do you think of Mitt Romney?
I don't know him.
He's the front runner for the Republican nomination.
Well, I'd probably have to ask my dad. He's a Republican too.
Yeah. What about, Newt Gingrich?
A what?
Newt Gingrich? Another one of the people running to become the Republican nomination?
I don't know.
Ron Paul?
I will vote for anybody who's a Republican.